Welcome back to the Trading Alchemist. It is June 19th, 2026. It's Friday, everyone. Welcome back. So there are a couple things that I want to hit up today. And one of the things that I want to go over actually is this AMC trade that happened. But before I get into the AMC trade, I would like to just go over Bitcoin and Ethereum and see exactly what's going on in there. So let's dive in, right? All right, so last we left off, we were over in this section right here. And let me zoom up here. Let's get this going. All right, I tried to clean up my chart a little bit so that you guys could see. But one of the things that I mentioned in here was I was looking for Victoire to get hit. So it ended up getting hit. Yeah, so this was the short area. Notice that there was an order block right over here, this little cluster of candles. Even though it was small, this was the reaction point. What I was hoping for was I was hoping that it would come to this blue line right over here, because that's where I was trying to set up my short. That's where I was trying to set up my short, but it didn't hit that high, which is okay. I actually closed out my long that I had for Bitcoin, and it worked out pretty well. So let's jump into this a little bit further, right? One of the things that I was saying was that, it could be possible that we are going to make this balanced again. Okay, because even though this feels like we are going up like so, we can very well reverse over here and come back down here, because there is, like, first of all, you can see there's a wick right over here, but second of all, I mean, this is unbalanced, right? And we've already played that role where, like, it's balanced, it's unbalanced, right? So this can come back down over here and kind of fill that area in. And yeah, look, we're balanced. I got this little triangle going on here, but we're balanced, and that's good to see. So where do I see us going from here? Well, honestly, I am still hoping, truthfully, I am still hoping for it to come down here to this target that I drew previously that's been on the chart for quite some time, this area right over here. Now, if you notice, this wick right over here, this little block that I drew, this little block that I drew is this area. And notice that we're touching it again, okay? Now, this is significant, because if we do find support over here, then definitely we are going to change direction and come back up to this Victoire area, which is now the high of the range that we are in. So we now have a range that has formed out, and this is the range. This is where we're in right now. But if you notice, it just feels still a little odd to me, from what I've seen. Let me get rid of this line right here. That's bothering me right there. So it's looking a little odd to me. For example, like you got this wick here. You got this wick right over here. It really struggled in this area, which is really good, because I would say that this wick is now completely done. It's done. Let me move this over and realize my head's on top of it, right? So this wick is completely done, I feel. We've come over here, we've filled it in a lot, but then we've got this wick right over here. Now, if I pull out and look at everything all together, let's do a big pull out here. Again, I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't go down, at least to, like, if you notice, look at this guy right over here. Look at this guy right over here. All of these are kind of in the same structure as this right here, which is good. But this is really where people have, like, this is the liquidity grab area, right? And especially touching this green block that's down below. Like, if we can just come back over here and touch this, then I think it's a good setup for a long.
3 hours later.
Okay, I actually lost my train of thought. I got a phone call in the middle of that. Got to put that on silence. I got a phone call in the middle of that. Sorry about that. So yeah, so this is what I'm talking about here. We've grabbed this, and these are kind of hovering, right? Like if you notice, but in this green zone right over here, this green zone actually has some kind of weight to it. So I do feel like we're going to come down lower into this range. And what I'm hoping for is, honestly, I'm hoping for this wick to be filled out. Because if that wick does get filled out, then, we actually have kind of permission to move the other way. Like, this chart is 100% balanced, okay? And we can kind of move on from there. But at this zone here, understand, at this zone, this is where the fear level will be at its highest. People will fear things. And again, that's the psychology of it. When there's fear in the market, it's probably time to buy, right? So the lower the level is of the fear and greed, if we're at like fear level 3, then you shouldn't be like, wait a second, we're going to 0. You should say, okay, let me take a look at the chart and see if there's an opportunity here. Are we in like these zones here? To the left of the chart, do we have any kind of information that shows, it's worth being there? So that's what's going on right now, I feel like, in Bitcoin. And if I zoom up a little bit more here, you can see we're getting a little bit of a bounce here, which is fine, right? But I do feel like, first of all, I want you to notice this. Anytime there's a big candle like this right over here, let me change the color for a second. Let me move this over. Anytime there are big candles here, you have to understand that there is going to be like a halfway mark that it's going to come down to. And if you took a look at my other video about the means, about finding the mean, the jelly bean experiment, you could see exactly what I'm talking about. This candle right over here is a pretty big candle, and it has to hit at least halfway for it to be, somewhat okay. And it could be considered a dead cat bouncer, however the phrase is, whatever. But if you notice, there are two things here. First of all, if you look at this order block one more time, right, and you look at this line right here, okay, like actually, let me change that. If you look at this right here, and I pull this line out right over here, look where it went from here, from the top right over here to the bottom right over here. Notice where it hit first. It came a little bit above the halfway mark, right? And then it rejected, like, okay, it came up over here. This is the one I'm talking about. It rejected, it came down, it made a higher low, right? And then it came back over here to fill in that order block. If this has any strength to it at all, it should come to about halfway right around here, okay? And that's when you determine, are we gonna push up higher or not? But if it's sticking on the candle side, like this right over here, for example, this candle, and it's finding some kind of resistance there, then it could be possible that it's gonna come back over here, fill this wick in, and possibly tap up over here, okay? And at this point, I feel that it is time to start really paying attention to these charts, right? Because we're getting close to the bottom of the bear market, all right? So anyway, that's that on Bitcoin. I hope you understand that. Let's do an if-then scenario. If it comes up here, like what are we going to do? Well, we've got some kind of trend line that's going. We've got this order block right over here. Here is, can I undo that? Yeah. I drew a line right over here. This is the top of the range. This is the bottom of the range. So if we do bounce back up, then I would be looking for it to come back to the top of the range. That's what I'm looking for, right? And if it does come back to the top of a range, I'm going to decide, should I short at that point or what? Like, are we stuck in this range? Are we coming back down to the bottom? If it comes back down to the bottom, then I'm going to see how it reacts over here. So this is my short idea, and here is my long idea. And at this point, I am no longer in any trades. I closed my long out, I closed it in profit, and I am now waiting to see what these charts are going to do. I don't feel like I'm missing any opportunities because, again, in this channel, I've showed more and more that the top and the bottom of the range are the areas that you really want to kind of grab, right? So don't diddle in the middle. Let's go take a look over at Ethereum now. Let's jump over here. And this is one thing that I didn't mention before. If I zoom out, in a previous video about Ethereum, come on, I'm getting there. In a previous video, when we were over in this section, I was saying that we might pop back up here, but this would be my target for Ethereum. And the reason why was because of over here, this little group right over here. And you can go back and take a look at that video and see exactly where I actually placed it, why I placed it. I drew it for you guys. And it was, I think it was actually like 3 months ago or so. And look what happened. It came and it overshot it, right? It overshot it and then it bounced back up. And this is a pretty significant bounce. But looking at Ethereum, again, I'm getting the idea that it's going to come back down here and revisit. Now, here's the thing. This red line, I drew this red line, and this red line is there on purpose. And the reason why that red line is here is because of this group right over here. Right over here. It's this group right over here. In fact, I think this has moved a little bit. So let me move it right back over there. So if Bitcoin and Ethereum are attached to each other, and let's just say that Bitcoin just starts to dump. Let's say that Bitcoin reaches its target. Well, I don't really feel like Ethereum's going to stay in this spot. What I do feel is it's going to come back down over here, take this guy out, and this guy. That's the only thing that would make sense, because if Bitcoin dominance kicks in, right, that means that Ethereum is going to fall a lot harder. Okay. Now, on the other hand, if Bitcoin dominance is weak and Bitcoin decides to, drop down, then it could very well be possible that we don't drop that low. It could be possible that it starts to struggle in this zone and work its way back up. Either way, that target that I drew was hit. It was a really good area to long. It's a great area to buy spot, and I do feel like we're going to revisit that. Okay, so now let's go jump over to this AMC trade. Now, this worked out really well. I mean, I cannot stress how I kind of laid this out in all of the other videos. First of all, this is where I bought right over here. So this was around 93 cents. Around 93 cents to 95 cents, I actually purchased AMC, and I made that clear. I DCA'd in. So actually, these white lines over here. Let me pull them out a bit. Let's zoom in here, like so. So these were actually my first buys, and these were what I consider my pancake buys, like having a really bad pancake, right? So I threw a little bit of money in there, so I was exposed to the chart, and I could see, and it took a dip. So I was underwater with these guys right over here. But this orange arrow, when I put it there, and I actually showed you guys in the chart, I actually DCA'd in heavy, which means that my real entry point was right over here. And whatever I lost, all it needed to do was tick up just a little bit, and I was in profit. Okay, and I rode this up. I sold at this red line. I sold again over here, and then I told you guys that I was looking for it to come back down over here. I bought in again, and I have since sold right at the top right over here. So now what am I looking at here? And first of all, like anyone who chased this with me, like anyone who saw this and actually took the trade, congratulations. I hope you made some profit on it. From around 95 cents to 280 right now. I mean, that's a pretty nice move. You've almost 3x your money at this point, right? So what do I see that's going on now? First of all, look, there is a resistance mark that I have here. And if you notice, this is the top of the range, top of this little range that was over here. We defined this range before when it was dropping, right? So if it starts to find some support over here, then I would consider this a manipulation move. And this is where we are now kind of like rocking right over here, right? So which means that we could possibly come over here, come back down over here, and start ranging just like in crypto, right? So what I am looking for, though, is if we look back exactly what's going on here. Let me go back. Let me go to the day chart. This will make it a little bit easier for me to do it here. Look at this. We have been in this channel for quite some time. Now notice that it broke the channel. It came back, touched the top of the channel, came back, touched the top of the channel, and then we started losing strength on it. It dropped back in and came to the other side, right? Now look, it came over here. This is resistance. It dropped down to the other side. It came up here. This is where it broke. It broke completely. Now, pay attention to this. Notice what it did. It came back and revisited this line. And after that, it skyrocketed to wipe out all of the liquidity that was over here that was built up over time. And it filled this wick back in as well. Okay, so I know you can see that. This dropped down, came over here, retested this, dropped down to the other side. We came, we rode this all the way down. Notice we broke here. This is a wick that was filled out. And we came down to the bottom. So look where we are now. We are at this point where if this finds support over here, like it can go up and come back down over here. If it found some support, then I believe we are hitting target number 2. Okay? I think that's where we're headed. Because we can fill back in this wick right over here. But I do feel that this red line here is really the target, the overall target, which is $42. Now I know that sounds kind of crazy from where it's at. Like, why would it go up there? The charts have a tendency to do what the charts do. Okay, so what I'm looking for now, honestly, is I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback. And where would I see it? So first of all, I do think we're going to come back. Oh, I do think we're going to come back over here. I think we're going to touch this. I think we're going to pop here. But when it starts to pull back, I will be looking at this spot right over here. And also, I will be looking at this one right over here. The reason why is because if I connect these points right over here, notice what happened here. This became support. So I would think it would come back here to test the support area again. And it could come down and touch this red area right over here and then work its way back up. If it goes down there, I will be looking to DCA in again. I will be looking to put my money back in. I'm not really worried about this move. I'm not worried about missing the move. I am looking for where can I re-enter at this point, because I do not want to give back my profit that I've already taken. And if for some reason it skyrockets up here, well, you know, that's happened to me plenty of times before, but I'm pretty satisfied with the profit that I've taken so far. And I am not abandoning AMC. I am looking to get back in, because that move all the way up to this red mark over here, that target, I believe it's going to get hit. Okay. So if it has a long way to go, it's got the resistance area, the resistance, and each one of these marks are going to have some kind of reaction in some kind of way. So I'm planning for that. And I would be looking to do some kind of rinse and repeat and play it all over again, because this is not actually where the money is, the huge spike up. The actual money is in the range, you know, buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell. And if we are going to this range right over here, if this is our range, well, guess what? This is the money part right here. Buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell, and work it out so it works in your favor. If you want to buy and hold at this point, just understand that if you were to buy AMC right now, and it were to drop down to here, whatever you put in here, let's say it was $100, for example, know that it's probably going to be worth, I don't know, you know, a little bit less than $50 at this point, right over here, right? Because you're going to lose some percentage there. So whatever you put in now, just understand that would be your first entry, and you can always DCA down and move your position from this part over here to this part over here if you DCA heavy enough. Okay, so that's a methodology you can try. I'm pretty happy with this trade. I really hope you guys were able to get it. There are a lot of other trades out there that are starting to look pretty fancy. I do want to talk a little bit about this SpaceX shard, okay? Now, in my experience, you do not want to chase this, okay? This is the first buy-in. It is now broken that, and it came over here. We don't have a range that's created yet. And if you look, it came back to test this right over here. This chart is a little bit hokey to me, okay? There's only a very small percentage out for the public. And honestly, as soon as the supply unlocks for anyone who bought in here, if this chart moves higher, because it can, because it's such a small percentage that they gave out to the public, if it does move higher, once those things get unlocked, they will be taking profit like crazy. And this is not the origin of it. Just understand that. Charts that start have a very specific pattern, and they drop pretty hard when the hype is over. So if you are trying to trade SpaceX, I would be very careful about it. This is one of those that you could get into when it drops low enough. But I don't think it's now. If you have the opportunity to short it, then I would pay attention to this chart, because the shorts on new charts, when you find the top, it will roll once the hype goes out. And yeah, I mean, people are greedy. I don't care what you say. They're going to take their profit. Smart traders will take their profit. Retail usually holds on to it, and that just means that you have to DCA down along the way. So anyway, be careful about this chart. All right, guys, that's about it. If I go take a look at where we are right now, let's take a look at what's going on. Looks like, yeah, we're kind of This is kind of where we are right here. Looks like we're finding a little bit of resistance there. I wouldn't be surprised if we pop up here, but I would be looking for it to go a lot lower. All right, guys. Hope that was helpful. Hope you have a good weekend, and stay safe out there. All right. Peace out. Bye.